In a bustling city, nestled between high-rise buildings and busy streets, stood a quaint little restaurant called Savory Haven. Known for its delicious comfort food and warm atmosphere, it was a favorite spot for locals. The restaurant had recently undergone a change in management, but most regulars were unaware of this transition. The new owner, a young black man named Marcus, had poured his heart and soul into revitalizing the place. He had dreams of turning it into a community hub where everyone felt welcome. Marcus had worked as a waiter in various establishments throughout his life, gaining invaluable experience and insight into what made a restaurant thrive. He was passionate about food and service, and he believed that every customer deserved respect, regardless of their background. With the support of his family and friends, he took the leap to buy the restaurant he had always admired from afar. On a particularly busy Saturday evening, the restaurant was filled with laughter, chatter, and the aroma of freshly cooked meals. Marcus was on the floor, greeting customers with his signature smile while ensuring that everything ran smoothly in the kitchen. He was proud of his team, which included several longtime employees who shared his vision for the restaurant. However, as fate would have it, that night would take a turn no one could have anticipated. A group of 4 customers entered the restaurant, their demeanor immediately setting off alarm bells for Marcus. They were loud, boisterous, and seemed to carry an air of entitlement that made other diners uncomfortable. As they settled into their booth, Marcus approached them with his usual warmth. "Good evening. Welcome to Savory Haven. My name is Marcus, and I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you off with some drinks?" he asked cheerfully. The group exchanged glances before one of them, a tall man with an arrogant smirk, spoke up. "Yeah, we'll take some beers, but make sure they're cold, and hurry it up. We don't have all night." Marcus nodded politely but felt a twinge of unease. He had dealt with difficult customers before, but there was something particularly unsettling about this group. As he walked away to fetch their drinks, he overheard snippets of their conversation filled with derogatory jokes and racial slurs aimed at other patrons. When he returned with their drinks, he placed them on the table carefully. "Here you go. Is there anything else I can get for you?" The same man leaned back in his chair and sneered. "Yeah, how about you tell us what kind of place you're running here? You know we don't usually eat at places like this." Marcus felt his heart sink, but maintained his composure. "We pride ourselves on offering great food and service to everyone who walks through our doors," he replied calmly. The group erupted in laughter, mocking him openly. "Look at this guy, trying to act all professional," another member chimed in. "What do you know about running a restaurant? You're just a waiter." Each insult stung deeper than the last as Marcus struggled to keep his emotions in check. He wanted to stand up for himself, but also knew that maintaining professionalism was crucial for the reputation of his newly acquired business. As the evening progressed, the group continued their barrage of humiliation, loud enough for other diners to hear but too cowardly to confront him directly. Marcus felt the weight of their words pressing down on him like an anchor. Little did they know that beneath his uniform was not just a waiter, but the very owner of Savory Haven they were belittling. The tension in the air thickened as more customers began to notice the scene unfolding at the booth. Whispers filled the room as people exchanged sympathetic glances toward Marcus, but he remained focused on his duties, determined not to let their ignorance ruin his night or the experience of others around him. As he walked away from their table once again, he took a deep breath and reminded himself of why he had bought this restaurant in the first place: to create a welcoming space for everyone and to foster an environment where respect reigned supreme. The conflict unfolds. As the evening wore on, the atmosphere in Savory Haven began to shift. While most diners were enjoying their meals and engaging in friendly conversations, the group at the booth continued to create a ruckus. Their loud laughter and derogatory remarks echoed throughout the restaurant, drawing unwanted attention. Marcus felt a knot tightening in his stomach with each passing moment. He had always believed in the power of hospitality, but tonight was testing his resolve. He glanced around the restaurant, noticing how some customers were visibly uncomfortable. A couple at a nearby table exchanged worried looks, while a family with young children tried to ignore the commotion. Marcus knew he had to do something, but he also understood that confronting them directly could escalate the situation. Just then, one of his longtime employees, Sarah, approached him. She was a seasoned waitress who had been with the restaurant for years and had seen her fair share of difficult customers. "Marcus," she said quietly, "do you want me to handle it? I can talk to them." Marcus appreciated her offer, but shook his head. "No, Sarah. I need to handle this myself. It's important for me to show that we won't tolerate this kind of behavior." With a deep breath, he steeled himself and approached their table once more. "Is everything all right with your drinks? Can I get you started on your meals?" he asked, maintaining his professional demeanor. The tall man looked up at him with a condescending grin. "Yeah, sure. But you should really think about hiring some real servers instead of, well, whatever you are." His friends erupted in laughter again. Marcus felt a surge of anger, but fought to keep it under control. "I assure you I'm fully qualified to serve you," he replied evenly. "However, I would appreciate it if we could keep our conversation respectful." "Respectful?" the man scoffed. "You think you can come in here and demand respect? You're just a waiter playing dress-up." At that moment, Marcus's heart raced as he felt the weight of their words bearing down on him. He glanced at Sarah for support. She was watching from a distance, her expression filled with concern. He knew he had to stand firm, not just for himself, but for everyone who had ever faced discrimination or disrespect. "Listen," Marcus said, his voice steady but firm. "I understand that you may not be accustomed to seeing people like me in positions of authority in places like this, but I'm the owner of Savory Haven, and I expect all my guests to treat each other with dignity." The laughter abruptly stopped as the group fell silent, their expressions shifting from amusement to disbelief. The tall man's smirk faded as he processed Marcus's words. "Wait, what did you just say?" he asked incredulously. "I said I'm the owner," Marcus reiterated, his heart pounding in his chest. "This restaurant is mine, and I won't allow anyone to disrespect my staff or my establishment." For a moment there was an awkward pause as the group exchanged glances. The atmosphere grew tense. Other diners were now leaning in to catch every word of this unexpected confrontation. Marcus could feel their eyes on him, some filled with sympathy and others with curiosity. "Yeah, right," one of the other customers finally scoffed. "You expect us to believe that? You're just some guy trying to play boss." "I can show you the ownership papers if you'd like," Marcus replied coolly, crossing his arms over his chest. "But honestly, I shouldn't have to prove myself to anyone." The tall man's face flushed with embarrassment as realization dawned on him. The laughter from earlier had vanished entirely. Now it was replaced by an uncomfortable silence that enveloped their table. "Let's go," he muttered under his breath, clearly agitated by being outed in front of others. But before they could leave, Marcus took a step closer and added, "I want you all to understand something important. This restaurant is about community and inclusivity. If you can't respect that or treat others with kindness, then perhaps this isn't the place for you." With that statement hanging heavy in the air, Marcus turned on his heel and walked away from their table. He felt an overwhelming mix of emotions: relief that he had stood up for himself, and anger at how they had treated him and others throughout the night. As he returned to the kitchen area where Sarah was waiting anxiously, she gave him an encouraging nod. "You did great out there," she said softly. "Thanks," Marcus replied with a weary smile. "I just hope they take it to heart." Meanwhile, at their booth, the group sat in stunned silence as they processed what had just happened. The tall man finally broke the silence with a frustrated huff. "I can't believe we got called out by some waiter." "Yeah," another member chimed in hesitantly. "But what if he really is the owner? We might have crossed a line." As they debated among themselves about whether they should apologize or leave without saying another word, Marcus took a moment to breathe deeply and regain his composure behind the kitchen counter. He knew that standing up for himself was important, not just for him, but for anyone who had ever felt marginalized or disrespected. Little did he know that this confrontation would set off a chain reaction within Savory Haven, a ripple effect that would change not only how customers viewed him, but also how they interacted with each other moving forward. As dinner service continued into the night and more patrons arrived at Savory Haven, whispers spread about what had transpired at that booth, the moment when a waiter became an owner in the eyes of those who had underestimated him. The turning point. As the night wore on, the atmosphere in Savory Haven began to shift subtly. The earlier tension had transformed into a buzz of conversation, with patrons discussing the unexpected confrontation that had unfolded. Many were impressed by Marcus's composure and courage, while others expressed their disbelief at the behavior of the group that had mocked him. In the kitchen, Marcus took a moment to collect himself. He leaned against the counter, taking deep breaths to calm his racing heart. Sarah joined him, her eyes filled with admiration. "You really stood your ground out there," she said, handing him a glass of water. "I'm proud of you." "Thanks, Sarah," Marcus replied, grateful for her support. "I just couldn't let them disrespect me or anyone else in this restaurant. We've worked too hard to create a welcoming environment." As the evening progressed, Marcus focused on ensuring that every table was attended to with care and precision. He moved through the dining area, checking on customers and making small talk. The incident at the booth had drawn attention, but he was determined not to let it overshadow the positive experiences of others. Meanwhile, the group that had humiliated him sat in silence at their table, their earlier bravado replaced by discomfort. They exchanged glances but avoided eye contact with Marcus as he passed by. The tall man who had led the mockery now seemed lost in thought, his demeanor noticeably subdued. "Maybe we should apologize," one of his friends suggested hesitantly. "Apologize? Are you kidding?" the tall man snapped back. "He's just a waiter. He doesn't deserve our respect." "But what if he really is the owner?" another friend chimed in nervously. "We could be making things worse for ourselves." The tall man scowled but fell silent as he contemplated their words. Deep down, he knew they had crossed a line that night, a line they shouldn't have dared to approach. As dessert orders started coming in and laughter filled the air once more, Marcus noticed a couple seated at a nearby table watching him intently. They appeared to be in their late 30s, and their expressions were warm and friendly. When he approached them to check on their meal, they smiled warmly. "Marcus, right?" the woman asked. "Yes, how can I help you?" he replied. "We just wanted to say that we were really impressed by how you handled that group earlier," the man said earnestly. "It takes a lot of courage to stand up to people like that." "Thank you," Marcus said, feeling a swell of pride. "It's important for me to create an environment where everyone feels respected." The couple nodded in agreement. "We've been coming here for years," the woman added, "and we've always loved this place because of its welcoming atmosphere. You're doing a great job." Marcus felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. Encouragement from loyal customers reminded him why he had taken this leap into ownership. He chatted with them for a few more minutes before moving on to check on other tables. As he continued his rounds, he noticed that some customers were now whispering about him and the incident at the booth. Instead of feeling disheartened, he found strength in their support. People were standing up for what was right. However, not everyone was ready to let go of the situation so easily. The group at the booth finally decided to leave after finishing their meal, though not without leaving behind an awkward silence in their wake. As they walked past Marcus on their way out, the tall man paused briefly. "You're lucky this is just a restaurant," he muttered under his breath before exiting with his friends. Marcus felt a mix of emotions, anger at their continued arrogance, but also pity for their ignorance. He knew that they would likely never understand what it meant to treat others with dignity. After they left, several patrons turned to Marcus and offered supportive nods or words of encouragement. One older gentleman even raised his glass in a toast as he called out, "To respect and kindness." The restaurant erupted into applause and cheers as people rallied around Marcus's bravery. It was a moment of solidarity that filled Savory Haven with warmth and camaraderie, a reminder that kindness could prevail even in challenging situations. As closing time approached and customers began to leave, Marcus felt an overwhelming sense of relief mixed with pride. He had faced down adversity and emerged stronger than ever before. In the following days, word about what had happened at Savory Haven spread throughout the community like wildfire. Social media posts shared snippets of the story along with photos taken during dinner service that night, many highlighting Marcus's integrity and professionalism. Local news outlets picked up on the story too. They wanted to interview him about his experience as both a waiter and now an owner, facing discrimination head-on. Marcus found himself thrust into an unexpected spotlight, one he hadn't anticipated when he bought Savory Haven. But he embraced it wholeheartedly. He participated in interviews where he spoke candidly about his journey, growing up in a world where racial bias existed, but also sharing how important it was for him to create change within his own community through hospitality. "I want my restaurant to be more than just a place where people eat. I want it to be a safe haven for everyone," he explained during one interview. "We all deserve respect, regardless of our backgrounds." As time went on, Savory Haven became known not only for its delicious food, but also as a beacon of inclusivity, a place where people from all walks of life could come together over shared meals without fear or judgment. Marcus's story resonated deeply with many individuals who reached out, expressing gratitude for his courage. Their messages, filled with encouragement, inspired him further along this path toward creating positive change within society. On one particular evening, several weeks later, after receiving numerous accolades from local organizations celebrating diversity, Marcus decided it was time for something special, an event dedicated entirely to honoring those who had supported him throughout this journey. He organized an evening called Unity Night, inviting members from various communities across town, people who represented different cultures and backgrounds, to come together at Savory Haven for an unforgettable dining experience filled with food from around the world. The event quickly gained traction. People were excited about coming together in celebration rather than division. As guests arrived dressed in vibrant attire representing their heritage, there was laughter echoing through every corner of Savory Haven, a beautiful tapestry woven from diverse threads, all united under one roof. Marcus felt immense pride watching everyone connect over shared stories while enjoying dishes inspired by each culture present. It was everything he envisioned when taking ownership. As Unity Night continued into late hours, filled with music dancing joyously around tables, the spirit radiating warmth reminded everyone gathered here tonight about what truly mattered. Love, acceptance, compassion towards one another regardless of differences. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, joy, camaraderie, it became clear how far they'd all come since that fateful night when ignorance tried tearing them apart. Instead, it brought them closer together, forging bonds stronger than ever before. And so began new chapters not only within Savory Haven but also within hearts' minds across town, a reminder that when faced, adversity standing united could lead towards brighter futures, filled hope, understanding, respect, dignity. As the weeks passed following Unity Night, Savory Haven became a symbol of resilience and community spirit. The event had not only attracted a diverse crowd, but also sparked conversations about inclusivity and respect throughout the city. Marcus was overwhelmed by the positive feedback and support he received from both customers and local organizations. It felt as though a new chapter had begun, not just for him, but for everyone who walked through the restaurant's doors. A new beginning. With the success of Unity Night, Marcus decided to make it a monthly event, inviting various cultural groups to showcase their cuisines and traditions. Each month, different communities would take over the kitchen, sharing their unique dishes while telling stories about their heritage. This initiative not only celebrated diversity, but also fostered understanding and connection among patrons. The first event after Unity Night featured a local Hispanic community group. The restaurant was adorned with colorful decorations, and the aroma of spices filled the air as chefs prepared traditional dishes like tamales, enchiladas, and churros. Marcus watched with pride as families gathered to enjoy the food and learn about each other's cultures. "Marcus, this is incredible," Sarah exclaimed as she helped serve food to eager guests. "I've never seen this many people come together like this before." "I know," Marcus replied, his heart swelling with joy. "It's amazing to see how food can unite us all. I want Savory Haven to be a place where everyone feels they belong." As the night unfolded, laughter echoed throughout the restaurant, and stories were shared over plates of delicious food. Patrons mingled, exchanged recipes, and even danced to lively music that filled the air. For Marcus, it was a dream come true, a vision he had long held for his restaurant. Facing new challenges. However, not everything was smooth sailing. With increased visibility came scrutiny. Some people in the community were resistant to change. They were uncomfortable with the idea of embracing diversity in a space they considered their own. Rumors began circulating about Savory Haven being too inclusive or not traditional enough. One evening, as Marcus was preparing for another Unity Night event featuring an African cuisine theme, he overheard a group of regular customers discussing their discontent at a nearby table. "I don't understand why we need to change everything," one man said loudly. "This used to be our place. Now it's all about catering to everyone else." Marcus felt a pang in his chest at their words, but knew he had to remain focused on his mission. He approached their table with a calm demeanor. "Good evening. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation," he said politely. The group fell silent, looking up at him with surprise. We were just saying that we miss how things used to be," one woman admitted hesitantly. "I appreciate your honesty," Marcus replied, "but I believe that embracing diversity enriches our community. Savory Haven is meant to be a space where everyone feels welcome, regardless of their background." The man who had spoken earlier scoffed slightly. "But what about us? Don't we deserve some consideration too?" "Absolutely," Marcus affirmed, "and that's why I want to hear from you all as well. If there are aspects of our restaurant that you feel could improve or change while still honoring our roots, I'm open to suggestions." The conversation shifted as he encouraged them to share their thoughts on how Savory Haven could better serve its longtime patrons while still promoting inclusivity. It was a delicate balance, but Marcus was determined to find common ground. Building bridges. Over the next few weeks, Marcus organized focus groups with different customer segments, longtime regulars and newer patrons alike, to discuss their experiences at Savory Haven. He wanted everyone to feel heard while also educating them on the importance of inclusivity. During these sessions, he learned that many long-time customers felt nostalgic for certain traditional dishes that had been part of the restaurant's history before his ownership. They missed familiar flavors and wanted those elements incorporated into future menus alongside new offerings. "Why not create a heritage menu?" suggested one of the regulars during a focus group session. "You could feature classic dishes alongside new ones from different cultures." "That's a fantastic idea," Marcus exclaimed, feeling excited about the possibilities. "We can celebrate our history while also embracing new influences." As discussions continued, it became clear that there was potential for collaboration rather than division. Regulars began sharing family recipes from their own backgrounds, some dating back generations, which inspired Marcus to create themed nights where patrons could contribute their culinary heritage. A culinary tapestry. The first Heritage Night was an overwhelming success. The menu featured beloved dishes from both old and new traditions: classic meatloaf alongside spicy jerk chicken, and creamy pasta shared space with flavorful curry dishes. As guests arrived, they were greeted by an array of aromas wafting through the air, each dish telling its own story while inviting diners into an experience that celebrated both familiarity and novelty. Marcus watched as families gathered around tables filled with food from various cultures, sharing laughter over plates piled high with comfort food from different parts of the world. During dinner service that night, he noticed some of his longtime customers sitting alongside newer patrons, sharing stories over meals while discovering commonalities between them despite their diverse backgrounds. This is what it's all about, Marcus thought, as he moved through the dining area, his heart full at witnessing connections being forged right before his eyes. A moment of reflection. As Heritage Night came to an end, and guests began leaving with satisfied smiles on their faces, Marcus took a moment to reflect on how far he had come since taking ownership of Savory Haven. He thought back to that fateful night when he had faced humiliation at the hands of rude customers, a moment that had ignited something within him. A fire fueled by determination not just for himself, but for everyone who walked through those doors seeking kindness, respect, understanding. Suddenly feeling inspired again, he decided it was time for another event, one dedicated entirely towards celebrating unity across all communities within town. A festival bringing Haven. The entire team rallied together, working tirelessly, preparing everything needed, from decorations setting up stages, ensuring logistics ran smoothly. On festival day itself, the sun shone brightly, illuminating vibrant colors, adorning booths lined up along streets, filled laughter music echoing everywhere. Families gathered, enjoying activities, engaging artists, showcasing crafts, talents, sharing experiences. Marcus felt overwhelmed by joy watching everyone come together, celebrating differences while finding common ground through art, culture, cuisine. A beautiful tapestry woven together right before his eyes. Throughout day-long festivities, people danced, laughed, shared stories, creating memories they'd cherish forever. As evening approached, culminating performances highlighted talents showcased throughout day. It became clear how powerful unity truly was. When it came time for closing ceremony, Marcus took center stage, addressing crowd gathered around him, filled anticipation, excitement. "Thank you all for being here today," he began passionately. Today wasn't just about food music, it was about celebrating who we are coming together, despite differences, reminding each other, love, acceptance matter most. Cheers erupted from audience, resonating warmth echoing across park-filled joy camaraderie. A lasting legacy. As festival concluded, a sense of fulfillment enveloped everyone present, knowing they'd played part shaping narrative unfolding within community. In months following Unity and Diversity Festival, Savory Haven thrived, becoming hub, where people gathered not only enjoy delicious meals, but also forge friendships across cultures. Marcus continued hosting events celebrating diversity, fostering dialogue, understanding among patrons, becoming beacon hope, inspiring others. Follow suit. Through challenges faced, lessons learned, journey taken, it became clear how important standing united truly was, creating spaces where love, respect flourished, reminding everyone involved power, kindness could change lives forever. And so, the story of Savory Haven continued evolving, transforming lives one meal at a time, weaving threads, connection, bridging gaps, bringing people closer together, celebrating beautiful tapestry, humanity, shared experiences, forged bonds stronger than ever imagined possible. The legacy. As the months rolled on, Savory Haven solidified its reputation as a community cornerstone. The restaurant was no longer just a place to grab a meal. It had transformed into a vibrant hub of culture, connection, and celebration. Marcus had successfully woven together the threads of tradition and innovation, creating a unique dining experience that resonated with everyone who walked through the doors. A community of support. With each passing month, Unity Night and Heritage Night continued to draw larger crowds, People from all walks of life came to share their stories, recipes, and traditions. The restaurant became a melting pot of flavors and experiences, where patrons learned not only about food, but also about each other's histories and cultures. Marcus was especially proud of how the events fostered friendships among regulars and newcomers alike. He often saw families who had previously been strangers, now sharing tables, laughter, and meals together. It was a beautiful sight, a testament to the power of food to bring people together. One evening during a particularly busy service, Marcus noticed an elderly woman sitting alone at a table in the corner. She looked around, her expression a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Marcus approached her with his customary warmth. "Good evening. Welcome to Savory Haven. My name is Marcus. Can I get you something to drink?" The woman smiled shyly. "I've heard so much about this place, but never had the courage to come alone." "Don't worry, you're in good company here," he assured her. "What brings you in tonight?" "I wanted to try the Heritage Night," she admitted. "I used to love cooking with my grandmother, who was from Italy. I miss those flavors." "Tonight's theme is Italian," Marcus exclaimed. "You're in for a treat. Let me get you some water, and I'll be right back with our special menu." As he walked away, he felt a surge of joy at being able to connect with someone through shared culinary experiences. When he returned with the menu, he made sure to recommend dishes that would evoke memories for her: lasagna, risotto, and cannoli. Throughout the evening, Marcus checked in on her frequently. By the end of her meal, she was beaming with happiness. "Thank you for making me feel so welcome," she said as she finished her last bite of cannoli. "I'll definitely be back." Challenges ahead. However, as Savory Haven flourished, challenges still lurked on the horizon. Not everyone was pleased with the changes Marcus had implemented. Some longtime customers remained resistant to the evolving atmosphere, feeling nostalgic for what they perceived as the restaurant's traditional identity. One day, Marcus received an anonymous letter expressing discontent over the new direction of Savory Haven. The letter criticized him for prioritizing inclusivity over quality and claimed that the restaurant had lost its original charm. While Marcus understood that not everyone would embrace change, he couldn't help but feel disheartened by such negativity. He gathered his team for a meeting to discuss how they could address concerns while remaining true to their mission. "I want us to listen," he said passionately during the meeting. "We need to find a way to honor our roots while also celebrating diversity. Let's create opportunities for dialogue." The team agreed that hosting open forums could help bridge gaps between longtime patrons and newer customers. They decided to schedule monthly discussions where anyone could voice their thoughts on how Savory Haven could continue evolving while respecting its history. Bridging differences. The first open forum was held in the restaurant after hours, inviting anyone interested in sharing their opinions or suggestions. As people gathered around tables set up in a circle, there was an air of anticipation mixed with apprehension. Marcus opened the floor by sharing his vision for Savory Haven, a place where everyone felt welcome, regardless of their background, and encouraged others to share their experiences. "I used to come here every week with my family," one older gentleman began hesitantly, "but it feels different now. I miss some of the old dishes we used to enjoy." Another patron chimed in. "I love trying new foods from different cultures, but I think it would be nice if we could have some classic options too." Marcus listened intently as patrons voiced their thoughts, some expressing nostalgia, while others celebrated diversity. He took notes diligently, ensuring everyone felt heard. After an hour of discussion filled with both praise and constructive criticism, Marcus thanked everyone for participating and promised that their feedback would be taken into account moving forward. A harmonious balance. In response to the feedback received during the forum sessions, Marcus decided on an exciting initiative, introducing a rotating seasonal menu that featured beloved classic dishes alongside new offerings inspired by various cultures. The first season featured classic American comfort foods like meatloaf and fried chicken, alongside international favorites such as Thai green curry and Moroccan tagine, allowing patrons both old and new an opportunity to enjoy familiar flavors while exploring new ones. As word spread about this innovative approach, more customers flocked back into Savory Haven, eager not only savor delicious meals, but also engage in conversations surrounding food culture. A celebration of success. Months later, as summer approached, Marcus decided it was time for another festival celebrating unity, diversity within community. This time he envisioned something even grander than before, a week-long event dubbed Culinary Harmony Festival, featuring local chefs, artists, musicians, showcasing talents, creativity. With support from various organizations around town, the festival attracted attention far beyond expectations. People traveled from neighboring cities, eager to experience vibrant atmosphere, filled delicious food live performances, cultural exhibits. As festival kicked off, Savory Haven buzzed with excitement. Local chefs set up booths offering samples showcasing culinary skills, while musicians performed lively tunes creating joyous ambiance. Throughout week-long festivities, Marcus took every opportunity, engaging patrons sharing stories behind dishes, highlighting importance, unity, respect, understanding, all while ensuring each guest felt welcomed, valued. A lasting impact. As festival came to an end, Marcus stood outside Savory Haven watching families leave, filled joy, satisfaction, after enjoying meals together celebrating diversity. He felt immense pride knowing he'd played part shaping narrative unfolding within community, a narrative rooted love, acceptance, compassion towards one another. Reflecting on journey taken since that fateful night, when faced adversity stood tall against ignorance, he realized how far they'd all come together, forging bonds stronger than ever imagined possible. In weeks following Culinary Harmony Festival, Savory Haven continued thriving, becoming hub where people gathered not only enjoy delicious meals, but also forge friendships across cultures. And so, the story of Savory Haven continued evolving, transforming lives, one meal at a time, weaving threads, connection, bridging gaps, bringing people closer together, celebrating beautiful tapestry, humanity, shared experiences forged bonds stronger than ever before. Little did anyone know this journey marked beginning greater adventure ahead, one where each individual played vital role, shaping narrative unfolding right before eyes. One marked resilience, strength, unwavering commitment, fostering change, inspiring others along the way.